Hey guys, this is New Sensei, and today I'm really excited to share with you a bow sent to me courtesy of Three Rivers Archery. Now I'm not going to have any surprises. Yes, this is the Samick Sage pack which Three Rivers offers on their website. This is probably the most popular bow on the internet right now, and it has been for the past few years. Now despite popular belief, I don't hate the Sage. The Sage is a fine bow, and I'm going to prove it by unboxing it right now. Before that, I do want to take note of the wild popularity of the Samick Sage. If you've done any research on bows, you've probably come across the Samick Sage sooner rather than later. It is notoriously popular, with hundreds of positive reviews on Amazon. While initially widely available in the USA, stores like Merlin Archery in the UK and Pat Archery in Australia have begun to stock it due to demand. Three Rivers Archery also sells the Sage, and their Sage kit provides new archers with an easy, quick purchase that has everything that they need to get started. This is the package that I'll be featuring in this video to give you an idea of what you're looking at if you're buying a Sage as your first bow. I'm actually going to walk through this step by step. One of the problems of buying a Samick Sage from Amazon or from other stores is that the Sage comes as is. All you get is the bow and the string, nothing else. That's actually not enough to start shooting because you need things like a glove or arrows. So if you know what you're looking for, then you can go to other stores and buy it. But if you don't know what you're looking for, and that's if you're a beginner especially, then it can be confusing to pick up what you need. So Three Rivers Archery have made this package designed particularly for beginners to get started. What you see on this page is the entire kit and the options you have. The description on the page will break down each option, so you have some idea of what you're getting. Now, the options will add to the base cost. The base cost includes the bow, bow stringer, the string, and so on. And the base cost is $210 American dollars. Depending on what you add, the price will increase. So while it looks very cheap right now, depending on your options, it will increase the price range. So let's go through each choice. The first thing you get are the arrows. So the arrows are branded High Plains. They're fairly generic carbon arrows, so nothing too special about them. They shoot. They do come pre-fletched with a field tip, and Three Rivers does this for you. So if you don't know how to pick your arrows, there's a very simple drop-down menu. You pick your spine, which is based on your draw weight, and this gives you enough of a range where you can be fairly close to what you need. It won't be perfect, but your first purchase will never be perfect. This will get you enough to shoot well with your bow. So if you don't need arrows, then there's no extra cost, but getting 3 arrows, it costs around $30 American. So I picked a 3-pack of 500. I'll explain why later. So that increased the price live on the screen. Your tab or glove. Now, this is a very important choice. Now, the calf hair tab, which is this thing here, it's your standard finger tab. It's basically a hair finger tab with a small finger spacer. It's very thin. It does the job, and it comes for free with the package. However, if you want to shoot with a glove, there is an extra cost, and this depends on what you get. You can see all the options in the image. And the image doesn't really help because you can't really tell how different they are. The main difference is the material. Some are thinner than others, so if you want a particular feel, then you will choose certain things. I personally chose the Berlin style deer skin, a medium, because my hand is medium size. That adds $24 to the base price. I actually found this to be very worthwhile. I think this is the sort of thing which you probably won't replace. So investing in a good glove or tab now is probably a good career choice if you choose to stick with archery. So I was quite happy to spend extra on a good glove. That was my choice, which raised the price to $263 US. Arm guard. There are two choices. You get the perfect fit or the Wyandotte. The perfect fit's this one. The Wyandotte's that one. That one's a bit more flexible. This one does the job. I had no problems using the arm guard. It's only $3 extra, but it's no huge difference. Now, quiver. Big differences here. The Safari Tough Hip Quiver is this one here. It's basically a canvas tube. Nothing special about it. Comes free. You can upgrade to one of these. You can get the Ranger Rover Quiver or Hip Quiver, which is one of these. I think that's a pretty nice buy. There's space for arrows plus other things like notepads and pens. The back quiver has that over-the-shoulder kind of look. It's a canvas bag, so if you want the over-the-shoulder look, then this is an option. It costs $7.76 extra, and I went for that one. The bow case comes free. It comes with this particular case. It fits most of the accessories, so no second thoughts there. The bowstring is also free. It's a cardtail stringer. Comes standard. Arrow rest. Now, this is another choice. You can buy a bow without an arrow rest, but if you're shooting off the sage, you really do need something to shoot off. The two choices are either a plastic rest like this one, the Bear Weather Rest. It's a fairly standard one. You can't use a plunger with this rest. Not a big issue if you're shooting as beginner, but you can't use this along with a plunger. If you want to do that, you need to buy a separate rest. The other option is shooting off the shelf. And if you're shooting off the shelf, you need a fur rest. This will protect the bow from being scratched. So I chose to go for the bear hair rest because I already shoot off a rest from the other one. So using a shelf rest makes a bit more sense. A bit more expensive, but does feel nice. The limbs. The single most important choice. The Sage comes in £25 to £60. A lot of people will go for higher draw weights because it's stronger, shoots better, and so on. Just be very careful. You don't want to go too high. If you are an absolute beginner, I'm going to recommend you go for a 25 or 30 pound bow, no more than 35. The reason is a higher poundage bow is more physically demanding and you really need the technique and conditioning to use it well. It's a big mistake to go for the highest draw weight, and I know so many people who started way too high and they couldn't actually use their bow. It's a bit of a wasted purchase. I went for the 45 pound bow. This seems to be very popular for new shooters. I'm okay with this. One, I'm a small guy, so it's a smaller draw weight, but I'm also an experienced archer, so I can handle 45 pounds. Again, just be very mindful that you don't pick a draw weight that's too high for you. Lastly, you have the riser, left hand and right hand. This is based on the hand you shoot with, not the hand you hold the bow. If you hold the bow in your left hand, you're a right-handed shooter because you pull the string with your right. I'm right-handed, I shoot right, therefore I get a right-handed riser. Lastly, the string. The standard string is free. It's a B50 Dacron bowstring. You do have the option of paying an extra $10.49 for a fast flight Flemish twist string. The difference is this has a faster speed and better performance. If you're a beginner, you don't really need this, but it's a worthy purchase if you don't mind paying a bit extra. It is a high quality string, so I would go for that. So with my options being fairly luxurious, good string, good glove in particular, my overall cost is $288 US. I do need to point out that if you buy your bow from Three Rivers Archery or any archery store, you will get ongoing support. They are there to help you with your purchase and any subsequent purchase you do. If you buy from eBay or Amazon, you won't get that service, whereas buying from a store will guarantee that your purchase will be on record and they will help you with any problems you have. With all that said, let's go through what Three Rivers actually sent me. Firstly, I got a brochure. I'm not sure if this is standard or if it's just sent for me, but it was pretty nice to go through all their inventory as well as all the tips and tricks which they provide as part of the brochure. This is the perfect fit arm guard, the Ranger back quiver, the high planes arrows, the soft carry case, inside of which are the rest of the goodies. This includes the cartel bowstringer, the bear fur rest and strike plate, the Berlin style glove, which I must say looks and feels very comfortable and very nice. This is the Fast Flight Flemish Twist bowstring. And of course we have the Samick Sage itself. The Samick Sage is made from a laminate of olive diamond wood and hard maple. It comes with the standard AMO bushings for sight, stabilizers and plunger. These don't come with the bow, but they can be ordered separately. Right away, the Sage has a nice, warm, comfortable feel, and it sits nicely in the hand. Finally, the limbs. These are made from maple and coated in black fiberglass. The color is particularly nice, especially if you don't like the white look or the large sporty logos. It's important to note that the bow is not set up to shoot. The parts are simply shipped to you as is. If you're buying from a shop, you may be able to get the shop to set it up for you, sometimes at a cost. Since I didn't request that service, I'm going to have to do it myself. First, I need to stick the rest on. This is very straightforward, and the shelf rug is installed simply by peeling the back off and sticking it on. It's recommended that you use some rubbing alcohol to ensure a clean surface before sticking it on. You can trim the excess off for a cleaner look. Next, take the leather plate and stick it against the riser above the shelf. This will prevent arrows from scratching the bow when you shoot. Now to put the limbs on. Unscrew the limb screws. Slide the limbs into the pocket and replace the screw. It does take quite a bit of turning. Being able to take the bow down without tools is one of the most commonly cited positives about the bow. In fairness, this is a good thing, and while many similar club-level bows require a tool, this is not an uncommon feature. And honestly, as someone who is used to snap-on IOF limbs, this is more of a pain than I thought. Now to string the bow. Put the larger string loop down the top limb and hook the smaller loop onto the bottom tip. While you can string the bow by hand, doing so voids the warranty, and the safest method is to use the bow stringer. The one that comes with the 3 Rivers pack is the 2-pocket style. Place the smaller pocket on the top limb and the big pocket on the bottom limb. Step onto the stringer and pull the bow up towards you. Lean over and slide the top loop onto the grooves. Remove the stringer and check that the string is correctly positioned in the grooves. Lastly, I need to put on the knock set. If you request a bow service, this is done for you with a free knock set provided. Without one, you have no reference point for the arrow and the knock will slide up and down the string. I'll be using thread to time a knocking point. You can find tutorials online on how to do this, and there are several different methods. I personally use the same method as applying serving, which you can see me do in my string making videos. Regarding where to place the knocking point, the arrow should be square with the bow or just pointing down slightly. It's not important to get it exactly right to begin with, as you will adjust this when you get into more advanced shooting and begin tuning your bow. After finishing the knock set, I cut off the excess and singe the ends to prevent it from fraying. With the knocking point complete, you now have a reference point to place the arrow and it won't slide up. Normally I would use 2 thread knocking points to keep it centered, but you only really need one. Note that I've set my knocking point to shoot split finger off the shelf. If you shoot with all 3 fingers under the arrow, the knocking point will be about a quarter of an inch higher. We're not quite done yet. While the bow is ready, I'm not. Let's look the part. Oh look, I'm suddenly a trad shooter using a Samick Sage. Who would have thought? Obviously, as someone who doesn't normally shoot traditional bear bow, it does take me a while to get used to the technique. I really must emphasize that it is essential that you pick a comfortable draw weight, otherwise you will struggle to control the bow and will develop bad form habits. This in turn will demotivate you when you find you can't shoot for long or shoot accurately. As someone with a short draw length, I don't feel as much vibration or stacking as a taller person would, and the stacking is one of the potential problems the Sage has. Admittedly, even with my short draw length, I do begin to feel the limbs getting harder at full draw, and I imagine that those with longer arms will be somewhat surprised. Now after half an hour of shooting with the Samick Sage, my first impression is that it's actually quite quiet. My Olympic recurve is big and tall and colourful and flashy and loud. This is a very nice, gentle, peaceful bow. I'm surprised how quiet it is. There's no string silencers yet, but I can see why people want to make it even more quiet. So it's actually quite a nice, relaxing bow to shoot. So definitely a positive review for the Samick Sage. It is a very nice bow in the hand. It does feel pretty natural, and I can see why a lot of people like it, especially for its price. So I'm actually giving a positive review. I always thought it was a good bow, by the way, but now that I have my own Samick Sage, it does reinforce the positive reviews that people give it. And this is coming from me. Of course, the Samick Sage comes with the mountings and bushings for optional accessories like stabilizers and sights. I don't intend to add them to this bow because I already have an Olympic recurve. This is a nice contrast, being a bear bow traditional. I'm quite happy with the shooting off the shelf on the third rest. I guess the biggest variations that people will put on will be having a multi-pin hunting sight, adding a rest, even a whisker biscuit, and of course string silencers, which I think those three would be the most popular modifications. You can add a stabilizer. I don't find many people need one, especially if you're used to the natural traditional look, then you probably want to minimize things sticking out. So overall, it's a pretty nice bow. Regarding the Three Rivers package, do bear in mind that it is a starter kit, so all the accessories are basic entry-level items which are meant for people who have never done archery before, who don't have any equipment and just need something to get started. It's definitely not customized for the advanced shooter who has a lot of preferences already, but as far as the overall package is concerned, it's a fairly good package. I mean, I've used it for the past hour. It does everything you expect it to do, and I can imagine a lot of people would enjoy shooting with a package like what Three Rivers offers. I am very fond of the glove. This is the deerskin Berlin style glove. For me, it's a good fit. This is a medium. I didn't really measure my hand, but most of my hand stuff is medium, and this actually feels very comfortable. I'll do a video covering tabs with the gloves a different time, but this felt really good. My fingers were well protected, nice padding, comfortable fit, feels soft on the hand, so this is something worth keeping. I think the glove is probably the most valuable piece in the whole kit because you probably won't replace this. The arm guard works, it's plain, it's basic, but it does the job. I don't think you need to replace this. If you do, it probably will be something that's a bit more easy to adjust, might fit your arm better, or something more decorated. Personally, I didn't like the back quiver very much. This really is just a canvas bag, and I think if you went for the hip quiver options, you might find better mileage. If you do go for a back quiver, I would actually recommend you get a decent one. It's not from the package. This does take some getting used to, but as someone who prefers tactile feedback, I find fluffing around for a canvas flap is a little hard, and I didn't really like it as much. Regarding the arrows, there are two things to say really. The first thing is the spine selection. The Lightest spine you can get from the Three Rivers site is the 500 carbon arrows. These work okay for short distance shooting. You will find that especially if you're using a lower droid below 45 pounds, they can be a little stiff. My Samick Sage is 45 pound. It's actually 35 pound on my fingers. I measured it. I do have a short draw length, so that's to be expected. So these are okay. In the short term or mid term, you will find that if you want more accuracy after training up your skill level, then you will have to find better matching arrows. This is not a fault of any shop, it's simply to get you started. These are the cheapest options, but you will have to fine tune your bow in the future. The second thing is the number of arrows. That's probably the most frustrating thing. 3 arrows is okay if you're shooting in your backyard because you can shoot, get your arrows, shoot again. But you really want more arrows because if you're shooting at a range, you'll find that people are shooting 6 arrows. You want 12 in your quiver. If you're shooting in the woods, you probably want more than 3. So I find having 3 arrows, it's fairly standard for a starter kit. But for someone who is more experienced, I actually do want more arrows. 3 is getting a little scary, especially if you start breaking arrows. So these are really cheap throwaway arrows. You will probably buy better ones within a few months. Overall, the Samick Sage and especially the Three Rivers package has been quite fun to shoot. It is arguably the best bang for your buck. You won't really find a bow of this style and quality at its price point. Now, does this change my opinion of the Sage overall? And bearing in mind, it already was a positive opinion. Damn you haters. Alright, I already like the Sage. Having now owned the Sage, I still think it's a good bow. There are certain things which don't make it right for everyone. Firstly, size. It's a 62-inch bow. It's fairly short, and I'm a fairly short person. This is a short bow. If you want something that's better for target shooting, you want a longer bow that's 66 or 68 inches, or if you're a taller person, you probably do want a taller bow. You can get the Samick Journey, which is the same thing with longer limbs. That's 64-inch. It's not much of a difference, but it is an option. But if you want longer bows, then the Sage isn't your go-to bow. In my opinion, the main appeal of the Samick Sage is the price point, the high hunting level draw weights, and the ability to use fast fight strings. These 3 things are heavily marketed in almost every page. If you don't actually need these features, for example, if you're a beginner and you just want a bow to shoot, then you don't need higher draw weights. In fact, you shouldn't have high draw weights. This is a 45-pound Samick Sage. To me, this is actually quite light. One, because it's only 35 for me, but secondly, I've been shooting a 40-pound bow for the past 2 or 3 years. I don't really see a need to go above 30 pounds for a beginner. If you want to aim towards getting higher poundage bows, then this is an option. But again, do bear in mind that it's very likely that you will buy more than one bow. Your original starting bow may be a Samick Polaris, or maybe a Fuse Focus, or a SF Optimo Plus, which comes in like 24 to 30 pound maximum. And that's fine. And you may find that you will advance to a more specific bow, a hunting bow, or a sport style target bow. So this, if you only ever intend to buy one bow and change the limbs out, I think the Samick Sage is a good option. But if you're thinking about buying more than one bow, then you don't need to go to a Sage. The fast fight strings, as a beginner, you probably won't notice the difference. There is a difference. The Dacron strings are slower. The fast fight strings are faster. You will notice a difference in velocity, but as a beginner, you don't really need this as much. For me, as a sport shooter, I already know the difference. I expect fast fight to perform a certain way, but not essential for a beginner. One of the things which people overrate, in my opinion, is the ability to take it down. It's a takedown rear curve. All takedown rear curves can be taken apart. It's not a huge selling point, but people do make a big fuss out of it. It does both toolless takedowns, so you can use your fingers to unscrew the limbs. Yes, you can do that. Most modern recurve designs already do this anyway, so it's not unique to the Sage. Some of the club level bows are a bit less flexible, but they're not meant to be taken down completely, so it is convenient. It's not unique. Personally, I actually wouldn't want to take the bow down that often unless I have to carry it around somewhere in a bag. It just does take a bit of effort and time to unscrew the bolt, so personally I would unstring the bow but keep the limbs on just for convenience unless I have to carry it somewhere else. So my overall and final opinion of the Samick Sage: yes, it's a good bow. I've never said otherwise. Is it the best bow? No. Is it the best bow for beginners? No. Is it the best bow for its price point? No. It's a good bow. It's hard to say something is the best because there are so many options that need to be personalized and set in your preferences. If you're a brand new archer who's never shot before, you want to own your first bow, and you don't know what to expect or what preferences you have, then this is a safe buy. This is the primary reason why I recommend the Samick Sage. It is a safe buy. You can't go wrong with it. The bow will shoot fine. It is flexible enough to change limbs. Many stores stock it, especially in the US, and it comes at a very low price. So bang for your buck, the Samick Sage does have an edge. Most of the features that people will review positively really aren't that great, especially for a beginner. But for an intermediate shooter, then these might be options which might hook you in. But otherwise, I would rank this equal to most other entry-level bows. It really depends on why you need the bow in the first place. If you only want to buy one bow in your life and spend the least amount for a satisfying experience, then the Samick Sage does have that edge. If you want a very cheap hunting level bow, then yes, the Samick Sage does have an edge. But if you just want a bow, then most bows will do the same thing. The Samick Sage does have a good reputation. It does look and feel nice. It does have that black limb and wooden feel. So it might appeal to you aesthetically. I wouldn't be sucked in by the mass reviews. I have discussed this as the Samick Sage syndrome. It is because the market is saturated with positive reviews that more and more stores have to stock it based on demand. It doesn't make the bow better. So overall, the Sage is a nice bow. Does it deserve to be the ubiquitous traditional bow? Only because it is the most popular bow on the market right now. It in itself doesn't stand out in any particular way, but it's definitely a safe buy which most people will be happy with. I can understand why people love the Samick Sage. It's a sort of bow which you want to like. It does look and feel wonderful. I would not go as far as to say that it's the best bow ever, but I can understand why people fall in love with it. Because I've handled club bows and other traditional bear bows, the Sage doesn't stand out as much to me, but again, if this is your first bow, you will probably love it. Anyway, I did end up spending most of my day playing with the Samick Sage instead of training. It is a pretty fun bow to use, I'll give you that. I would like to again thank Three Rivers Archery for providing me with the Samick Sage, as well as donating the Samick Sage package as sold on the website. It was nice to spotlight all the items a beginner would need for their first purchase. In the future videos, I'll be doing some comparisons between things like quivers and finger tabs and gloves. And again, thank you to Three Rivers for donating these accessories. I hope you found this review helpful. This is New Sensei. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.